You think your life is being ruined by one big enemy, one betrayal, one heartbreak, one bad year. No, it's smaller than that, filthier than that, quieter than that. It's 100 tiny psychological traps wrapped in normal life, normal faces, normal routines, normal little lies you stopped questioning because they arrived dressed like duty, love, politeness, survival. You wake up tired, grab the phone, let other people's noise enter your skull before your own thoughts can stand up straight, and then you call that a day. You answer messages you don't even respect, laugh at jokes you don't even like, say, "It's okay," when it burns, say, "I'm fine," when your chest feels like a locked room, say, "later," to your own life, as if later has signed a contract with you. Listen to me. The trap is not only what hurts you. The trap is what trains you to cooperate with what hurts you. The guilt that keeps you available, the shame that keeps you quiet, the fake urgency that keeps you reacting, the fake comfort that keeps you numb, the craving for approval that keeps you bending until you don't even recognize the shape of your own spine anymore. That's the ugly part, isn't it? You were not always defeated by force. Sometimes you were defeated by habit, by softness, by delay, by maybe tomorrow. Hidden traps do not crash into your life with sirens. They slide in through your mouth, your routine, your excuses, your need to be loved, your fear of being called difficult. And if you do not break them, they will not just waste your time. They will quietly turn you into a stranger to yourself. The first trap is the need to be liked by people who have never paid the price to guide your life. Look at you. You adjust your tone for people who gossip. You soften your truth for people who disappear the second you stop entertaining them. You make yourself smaller in a room full of people who would not carry your pain for 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes. But somehow, their opinion still sits on your chest like a landlord collecting rent. You call it being mature. Sometimes, it is just fear wearing a clean shirt. Think about the ordinary scenes. A family table where you nod to avoid tension, even though the same old disrespect keeps repeating. A workplace where you pretend not to notice the person who smiles at you in meetings and cuts your name out of opportunities the moment your back turns. A group chat where you keep posting jokes so nobody notices you feel invisible. That is not connection. That is performance. The trap is not that they expect it. The trap is that you got used to paying for temporary acceptance with permanent self-betrayal. You know the sound of it. Don't make it awkward. Be the bigger person. It's not worth the drama. Convenient little phrases. Translation? Stay easy to use. Stay soft to step on. Stay smiling so nobody has to confront what they are doing to you. And when you finally feel exhausted, when you finally feel that dry bitterness in your throat because you are giving language, attention, labor, warmth, patience to people who treat your presence like furniture, you start blaming yourself for being too sensitive. No, you are not crazy. You are overexposed. The person trapped by approval is never free, because even in silence, even alone, he is rehearsing imaginary conversations with imaginary judges. Break that. Let some people misunderstand you. Let some people call you cold because you stopped bleeding politely. Let some faces change. Better a few offended strangers than a life spent begging to be swallowed whole by people who never intended to respect you. The second trap is fake urgency. The pressure to react before you can think. This one is filthy because it wears the mask of importance. Your phone vibrates, and suddenly your nervous system behaves like the building is on fire. A message comes in with that little sharp tone, and your mind sprints before your wisdom even puts its shoes on. That is control. Not always evil, not always planned like some movie villain nonsense, but real control. People learn your reflexes. Work learns them, family learns them, the world learns how quickly you panic when silence appears. A boss sends a late-night message with no greeting, just, "Need this now." A person who ignored you for days suddenly drops, "We need to talk." A relative who never asks how you are calls only when there is a problem. See the pattern? Your body gets trained to jump, to rush, to explain, to patch, to rescue, to over-answer. And the more you live in reaction, the less you live in direction. You start calling anxiety responsibility. Cute. Tragic, but cute. You are not a fire extinguisher for everybody's poor planning, emotional chaos, and convenient emergencies. The trap is not just speed. It is loss of authorship. When every ding, every frown, every shift in tone can reorder your inner world, then your peace no longer belongs to you. Look at what fake urgency steals from ordinary people. It steals fathers from their children because the phone owns dinner. It steals sleep from young men because one cold message from one inconsistent woman poisons the whole night. It steals focus from decent workers because they spend the day anticipating another interruption instead of building something clean, something lasting. It steals prayer-like stillness from the soul and replaces it with twitching, checking, refreshing, defending. Real urgency is rare. Manufactured urgency is everywhere. Learn the difference. If it is truly important, it can survive 10 measured breaths. If it is truth, it can survive your calm. If somebody loses respect for you because you refuse to panic on command, then respect was never what they were offering in the first place. The third trap is shame. Old shame, inherited shame, private shame, the kind that makes you keep serving a version of yourself that should have been buried years ago. This one is cruel because it hides under memory. Somebody mocked you once, and now you still speak smaller than your actual mind. Somebody abandoned you once, and now you confuse attention with love. Somebody humiliated you in school, at home, at work, in front of cousins, in front of strangers, and your nervous system built a little prison and called it personality. You say, "I'm just not that kind of person." Are you sure? Or are you just protecting an old wound from being seen again? Look at the street level reality of it. A man with skill stays broke because every time he's about to market himself, speak clearly, ask for the rate he deserves, his throat tightens with some ancient fear of being laughed at. A woman with intelligence keeps choosing half-present people because deep down she thinks being tolerated is safer than being truly seen. A son keeps nodding through disrespect because years ago speaking honestly was punished, so now even adulthood feels like borrowed permission. Shame teaches you to negotiate against yourself before life even gets the chance. Efficient little parasite, isn't it? It doesn't even need new evidence. It survives on repetition. And the ugliest part? Shame can make you loyal to the very conditions that keep you weak. You keep the same lazy friends because they knew the broken version of you. You keep the same dirty habits because they match the story you have been telling yourself. I'm complicated. I'm damaged. I'm just like this. No, stop romanticizing unhealed patterns. Pain is not a personality. Hesitation is not depth. Self-neglect is not mystery. Sometimes you are not finding yourself. Sometimes you are hiding behind old injuries because if you really stood up, really changed, really spoke with force, really became disciplined, then you would have to admit how many years were lost kneeling to ghosts. Shame survives in secrecy and performance. It weakens when dragged into daylight by action. Small action, repeated action, ugly, honest action. Say the thing cleanly. Ask the question directly. Leave what keeps making you crouch. Build evidence that the old humiliation no longer has authority. You do not owe eternal obedience to a wound just because it arrived early. The fourth trap is comfort that is not comfort at all. Numbness dressed like relief. This one is everywhere because modern life sells sedation like kindness. You feel pain, so you scroll. You feel pressure, so you snack. You feel loneliness, so you flood your ears with noise. You feel inadequacy, so you disappear into fantasy, gossip, random videos, endless commentary, cheap dopamine, pointless arguments, false starts, dramatic plans with no structure behind them. And because nothing explodes immediately, you call the behavior harmless. Harmless. Harmless things do not quietly drain the discipline out of your bones. Harmless things do not steal 4 years while convincing you it was just one rough season. Real comfort restores you. Fake comfort postpones you. Learn that difference, or you will die in installments. See how ordinary it looks. A man comes home tired, tells himself he deserves a little break, and every night the break becomes a burial site for ambition. A student says he works better under pressure, but what he really means is that he only knows how to function with panic at his throat because he has trained himself to need chaos before movement. A wife says she is just preserving peace, but what she is really preserving is a household where her silence is always cheaper than everybody else's growth. A young woman says she is resting, but the rest never strengthens her, never clarifies her, never produces anything except another day of soft exhaustion and inward disgust. That aftertaste matters. The body knows the difference between restoration and avoidance. After true rest, there is lightness. After fake comfort, there is heaviness, fog, guilt, self-contempt, that gross little sentence in the head, why did I do that again? Because the trap was never pleasure. The trap was permission without awareness. Do you understand how many lives are controlled not by tyrants, not by catastrophe, but by tiny repeated acts of self-abandonment? Alarm snoozed, hard call postponed, honest conversation delayed, cheap stimulation chosen over meaningful effort. Little by little, you stop trusting yourself, and when self-trust dies, everything gets darker. You become easy to manipulate, because a person who cannot govern his impulses will always rent himself out to the nearest distraction. Break fake comfort by making your relief tell the truth. Walk. Breathe. Read something that sharpens you. Sit in silence until the craving reveals what it was hiding. Sleep properly. Work with structure. Cry if you need to. Pray inside your own conscience if you need to. But do not call sedation healing. One of them rebuilds you. The other keeps you soft enough to control. The fifth trap is emotional outsourcing, letting other people's moods, approval, attention, and instability decide who you get to be today. This one breaks strong people because it disguises itself as empathy. You tell yourself you care deeply, that you are just sensitive, that you just feel things intensely. Maybe. But maybe you also never learned the difference between compassion and possession, between being present and being absorbent, between loving people and surrendering your whole nervous system to every weather change in their face. Look at the small daily scenes. Your morning is fine until one cold text arrives. Then suddenly, your appetite changes, your posture changes, your work quality changes. The whole day bends around one person's mood, like your life is an unpaid intern in their emotional office. A parent calls sounding disappointed, and now your chest carries a weight that does not even belong to your actual choices. A friend goes distant for a day, and you do not merely notice it, you become it. You rehearse, decode, imagine, overread, underbreathe, and by evening you are exhausted from conversations that never even happened. That is not depth. That is captivity with poetic language slapped on top. The person controlled by other people's temperature can never hold his own climate. And you know who senses this fastest? Users, drainers, inconsistent people. The kind who do not need to attack you because they know they can flicker and make you chase. They do not need to insult you because one withheld reply can keep you mentally kneeling for 8 hours. What a system. Minimal effort from them, full emotional taxation from you. In families, it becomes guilt. In romance, it becomes obsession. In friendship, it becomes one-sided loyalty. In work, it becomes overperformance, the tragic little dance where you keep trying harder for the boss who has already decided your worth based on usefulness, not humanity. And then you wonder why you feel drained all the time, because you are running a city on stolen electricity. None of it is coming from your center. You are trying to live from reactions, from signals, from